Mechanical Engineering in here IIT Tirupati, and my area is research interest is advanced metal casting, metal forming, tribology and surface engineering, and additive manufacturing. So today I am going to discuss on additive manufacturing for biomedical applications. So I will start from the basics, and then I have shared two papers with you guys. So those two papers I am going to discuss in detail. Okay. So let me thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to discuss with all of you. All right. Okay. So I came to know previous speakers have spent enough time on giving you the overview of the additive manufacturing process, right? They must have also discussed about the various additive manufacturing process in detail, right? So today I am going to discuss some of them in shortly, and then I will directly come to the application of titanium material, titanium alloys for biomedical applications, and then I am going to discuss on the mechanical and microstructural properties of those printed material and how they will perform during the operation. Okay, is it clear? Okay. So all of you are aware that additive manufacturing has synonyms, right? Like you can also tell rapid prototyping, on-demand manufacturing, digital fabrication, desktop manufacturing, solid freeform manufacturing, and direct manufacturing, right? So maybe after some time you may add some more names, right? If you can come up with some more names, you can also add. So they are all synonyms of additive manufacturing, but in general we say 3D printing or additive manufacturing nowadays, right? Okay. Now all of you are aware the evolution of this additive manufacturing process, how it evolved. Okay. So you can see from this slide the timeline for evolving this additive manufacturing processes. So basically it started as a rapid prototyping, okay, and it started in 1988. Okay. So and from 1988 it went to rapid casting, okay, then went to rapid tooling, then the application of this AM for different applications. Okay, so now 2001 they applied this additive manufacturing for the automotive applications. Okay, and then came to aerospace, medical. Now medical implants. Today we are discussing in this FDP program about the biomedical applications, right? So in medical field it entered in 2005. Okay, so from 2005 people have started using these additive manufacturing for biomedical applications. Okay, so this is one information. So this type of question may be asked on the last day of your FDP program. Okay, so you should know small details. I am giving you some hints. Okay, so 2005 they started using this additive manufacturing process for the biomedical implants, especially on metals, and then 2011 they entered into the aerospace. Okay, and then they came to the architecture, and then 2013 to 18 this period they focused on the biomedical implants, and today we are discussing about the biomanufacturing also. Okay, so Professor Ravi Shankar group is working on the biomaterials, right, microfinishing, implants, right, and yesterday also Dr. Kiran must have discussed on some implants, right. So our department also is focusing on some of these very hot areas, okay, where the research R&D is required. Okay, so this slide is clear. So these slides will be shared with you. Okay, so please focus on the content. So these slides will be shared with you. Yeah. Now, why we are doing all this? Why we are discussing these additive manufacturing for the biomedical applications? So you all come from the academic background, as we come from academic background, right? And you are also looking for the publications and then promotions, right? and then other things. So you can see, because of your interest today you are here in this FDP program, I have collected some information where you can see the publication in these areas is rapidly growing. Okay, so this slide shows you the publication from 2011 to 2020. Okay, so you can see the year-wise publication in these additive manufacturing processes. Okay, so this is of your interest, and then you can also see in particular areas, for example 3D printing of pharmaceutical, 3D printing and additive manufacturing, then they have different journals, right, journal wise, right, they are publishing. Okay, that's in country wise. So you see here, as you all know that US is on the top, right, they are doing hard work, they are doing uh, uh, research, and then you can also see where is our position. Okay, so US, Germany, then come to England, Italy, then come to the China and Australia, India. Okay, so still we have lot of scope, okay, to grow in this area. That is why all of us are interested to discuss this in this FDP program, right, to understand better and then contribute as much as we can, right. Next. Now, how this additive manufacturing evolved? Okay, so I was doing some study, and then I came to know a very nice article. Okay, so there was a person, his name is Charles Hull. Okay, and he basically in 1980s he started this. He was not knowing, unknowingly he was doing this experiment, and then he was working in the company called in California, where he manufactured the UV lamps into a layer of plastic to put on the surface, utilized for the household applications. Okay, so he was unknowingly doing this. Okay, it was very interesting, and then he came to know that he can utilize this UV to convert into CAD design. Okay, and then that CAD design can be converted into the 3D component. That's what we are doing, right, in the additive manufacturing. So he did lot of experimentation, and then he observed when UV light are subjected to photopolymers, right, that is what some of these materials we use in our biomedical applications, then it becomes hard, right. So basically you have the heat source, right, so you are melting the material, and then after that you are solidifying the material, right, then it will become the hard, right. So he came to know after lot of experiment, and then later on he developed a machine. Okay, and that had an ultraviolet light to engrave the films of acrylic into the different shapes. Okay, so after a lot of experimentation he came to know this can be done, and he developed the machine. So it happened in 1980s. Okay, when I was not born. Okay, some of you maybe you may have you born, right. So it happened long time back. So now you will be knowing about the this SLA process, right. So you have the model, you have the CAD model, then you convert into the STL file, right, and then you put into the machine. So after many investigations, you can see here he starts writing the code. So you also need to write code for these printing, right. When you have to print something, you have to write code for that. So that time he started writing the codes, and after 8 years, in 1988, okay, he sold first 3D printer of $1 lakh. Okay, okay. So you can see here in 8 years he built the machine, right, and then he sold it. And later some companies like Jet Corporation, DTM Corporation, SolidScape, right, and Object Geometries, they manufactured the similar machine for commercial use. So today also we are buying similar type of machines from such type of companies, right. So he took 8 years to bring that idea, convert that idea into the product, right. And in 1990s, additive manufacturing was first applied for the medical applications. So this is also important point for your exam. In 1990s, AM was applied first time for the medical applications. Okay, and then people have developed a lot of organs from patient cell and utilize a 3D printed scaffold to support them. So this is what now in 2012 there was a 3D printed job by manufacturing company layer by layer. Okay, so you can see here 1980s, then 1988, right? Then 2008, then 2012, right? And then with the advancement in this technology, 3D printing machine have become economical, right? So you can see here $1 lakh, right? And today you can also compare the price of these machines, right? At present, additive manufacturing not only altered the face of medicine, but also altering the lives of many ill patients. Okay, so that is why today we are discussing this. Okay. Now, what are the improvements of these 3D printing in biomedical field? Okay. So, what improvement is required in this field is, first is the pre-surgical planning. Okay. Then is product lightweight medical parts, produce complex geometries, bone implant, improve mechanical properties and time saving. Okay. So let us discuss just one point. For example, lightweight medical parts. Okay. So when you talk about lightweighting, generally we use different type of polymers, right? And especially we also use the titanium alloys, right? For example, because it is having the biocompatibility, right? So, and it is also having the lightweight, right? So that is why lightweight is required for these biomedical implants, as well as the time saving. Okay, so now nowadays population is growing, right, every day, and then if you see number of hospitals are also increasing in all cities, right, and then number of patients are also increasing. Okay, so when you have to treat patients, right, you need these implants, right? Nowadays, how many people have knee pain? They need a replacement of the knee joints, hip joints, right? So, and today you see the lifestyle of the people, right? Lot of wear and tear is there. Okay, so to avoid those things and to compensate those things, nowadays we have this requirement, right? That is why we have to quickly, this is the scope of the work where you can focus for the R&D work and then address all these issues. Okay, light weighting, time saving, mechanical properties, microstructure properties, right, and and the planning. Okay, next. So now I have just listed these things. I think previous speaker has already covered these different techniques. Okay, these techniques are now available for all of us. Stereolithography, DLP, SLS, EBM, FDM, SLM, and LM. Basically, you have the one heat source, then you have the material, and that material you are going to deposit, right, layer by layer, right, and then you are checking the properties, isn't it? Next. So this is the simple schematic for the what are the steps involved in the 3D printing. So basically you have to start with the 3D CAD model data, right? So so we have that CAD model and then we convert into the STL file, and that STL file we transfer to the machine, and then you have the prototype, and then you have the pre-post processing. So two things are there. One is the before you start the processing, you have to do pre-post processing, and once you complete the process, then you have the post processing treatment on the material. Okay, that also we are going to see. Now what are the materials we can use? We have now all type of materials. Ceramics you have, plastic, metal, liquid, powder, right? Different forms of materials we can use, right? Isn't it? Next. So the most widely used biomedical applications. So these are the some of the applications. You can add more applications. You can fabricate tissues, organs, and then customize implants. Customization you can do, and then you can also develop the pharmaceutical drug doses. Now it is also applied to various type of drugs. Okay. So why additive manufacturing biomedical? This is important for your exam. Basically, you can do a lot of customization. It is having the biocompatibility, cost effectiveness, improved productivity, short production time, simple assembly, and high precision. Okay. So just think about, just imagine when you are using the additive manufacturing process and the conventional manufacturing process. Okay. What difference you can see? What difference you can see? Can anybody?
Customization. Mask is better in
Mask customization.
Okay.
We can make it more complex parts.
Yeah.
Composite is
Surface finish, surface finish. Okay. So these are the things we may not get in the conventional manufacturing process, which we can achieve through these additive manufacturing process, right? That is why we are talking about this process, right? So they have lot of potentials. Okay, next. So this is the 3D medical models. You can see you start from the image acquisition, image processing, and another thing is you can also do reverse engineering. Nowadays tools are there. If you have the complex shapes, right, you can do imaging, right? You can do reverse engineering, the entire part. You can generate the codes, you can enter the code, right? And then you can do 3D printing. Okay. So that also we have that facility, I think, in our lab. All of you can visit that facility, reverse engineering. Okay. So I think the previous speaker yesterday, Dr. Venkaya, was there. So even so it is in the metrology lab. Okay. So all of you can see that facility. Okay. Now here I am quickly going through some of the materials which are used for the particular applications. Okay. I am going to share these slides with you. Okay. So don't worry about the content. So biomaterial, you have one category is metal and alloy. Okay. Another category is polymer. You have different type of polymers. Then ceramics, and then you have composites. Okay. And then what are the use of these individual materials? So for example, you take the example of metal alloy. You have titanium that can be used for plate, screw, pin, and orthopedic implant. And then you have the polymer that can be used for the drug delivery, bone implant. And then you have the ceramics. So ceramics generally we use for the dental implant. So in dental hospital sort of application is there. Okay. And then composite, dental filling, and then for the individual material category we have individual process. So for the metal alloy we have SLM and DMLS process. For the polymer we have FDM, SLS process, and for and DLP and SLA process also. Okay. So and these are the names of the different materials. Okay. So actually this work already has been done. People have already used these materials and they have produced some R&D work. Okay. But this work they have not come to that level where it can be accepted for the real applications. Okay. So the challenge in this basically in the biomaterial, okay, is the acceptance of your result and then come to the certification. Okay. That is not easy. Okay. Especially when we deal with the human body. Okay. When you deal with the automotive components or some other components, that there we can compromise, right? When we talk about the bio, then we cannot compromise. Okay. You have to be very precise. Okay. Otherwise, if you fit anything in your body, it may create, and if it is not compatible with your body, then like you know what is the result, right? So that is why it is very risky, as well as challenging. Okay. So they are the materials for the dentistry. You can see here ABS, PLA, ceramic filled resin, alumina also they use, right? And then they have dental applications. Next. Okay. Now mechanical properties. So mechanical properties are also important, right? Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
So whatever you produce, if it is not sound, right, then you may end up with the fracture basically, right? If you produce any this 3D printed component, for example, titanium alloy, for example, and if it is not printed perfectly, right, then what will happen? And you put it into the application, what will happen? You may end up with the some accident, right? Right? There are a lot of examples we see every day, right? So that is why mechanical properties also we have to understand, right? So when we discuss about the mechanical properties, all of you are aware about the mechanical properties like yield strength, universal UTS, right? UTS, ultimate tensile strength, right? You also need to understand the fracture toughness, right? And then you also need to understand the compressive behavior, right? Compressive strength. So basically when you apply the load, the material will experience tensile as well as the compressive loading, isn't it? So basically material is going to have the fatigue loading also, right? So you also need to check the fatigue loading. Okay, so fatigue means cyclic loading, isn't it? So all of these biomedical material which we are going to produce using these 3D printed techniques, they are undergoing the cyclic loading. Okay, so that also you need to understand. So if anything goes in the cyclic loading, how the fracture will take place, from where the fracture will start. Okay, so the initiation of the fracture and then the propagation of the fracture also we have to understand. Okay, that is why mechanical properties become important. Okay, another thing is the porosity percentage. Okay, especially in these 3D printed additive manufacturing manufactured material, porosity is the challenge. Okay, if you have used some of these materials, you can see, if you can just cut the sample which you have printed and just check in the microscopy, okay, you will see a lot of void spores are there. Okay, that is why people are afraid to use these techniques in critical applications. Okay, even if you see aerospace applications, there also people are afraid to use these material. Okay, because it has not come to that stage where we can say, okay, we have printed, you use it. Okay, so lot of voids, lot of defects are there which we need to understand through the R&D work. That is why this FDP program is designed, so that you guys can understand the basics and the challenges, right? And then implement this in your R&D work, right? Okay, next. Okay, so I have also listed here these things may be asked in your exam on the last day. So so just you see which process is used for which applications. Okay, next. Yeah, next. So applications you can clearly see, these are the different applications we can get, right? A lot of work has been done. Next. Okay, so now the major 3D printing applications are, first is the bioprinting tissues and organs, then you have the surgical tools, and then you have the custom prosthetic reconstruction, custom made implants and prosthetics, and then you have anatomical models for surgical applications. Even surgical tools also, if you can make without any defect, that is the challenge. Okay, so why we are using the EAM? Because of these different merits it has: personalization, customization, easy of use, improve productivity. So all things can be done. Okay, all things can be done, but when it comes to the study of the mechanical properties, microstructural properties, and then mechanical microstructure correlation, and then comes to the testing, then comes to the performance, and then comes to the certification, right? So there are a lot of things. Just producing, making 3D printed component is not sufficient. Okay? Got it? Yeah. So now the challenges in this field is cost customization, less suitable for batch production. Okay? So suppose you make one component, right? And then you have to make hundreds of those components, not only one. So sometimes you may end up with some rejection. How many rejection will be there? So suppose 100 components, if you produce using the 3D printing, right? How many rejection or how many defected piece you may get? That also you don't know, right? But when you see the conventional manufacturing process, because people have been working for long time, they have now stabilized. Okay, process parameters are optimized. Okay, if you go to Coimbatore, lot of industries are there, right? Lot of production industries are there, isn't it? So people have already customized those things, and process parameters are optimized. So there is not much effort, isn't it? But here there is a lot of effort. Okay, people have to make. So now people are afraid also to use these techniques directly into their critical applications. Clear? Next. Now important thing. Now I am going to discuss the structure, performance, processing properties. Okay, that is all dependent on the microstructural architecture. So how can you design the microstructure? You have to become the architecture of your material. Can you become the architecture of your material? Okay, that is what we need to discuss or we need to understand. Okay, but ultimately microstructure are the building block. Okay, so once you understand the microstructural design, then you can target for the soundproof product. Okay, now I have passed on two papers. Hope you have seen, right? Two papers. So one paper is on mechanical and wear of titanium produced by 3